Welcome back. This is Pairs 12 Knitting. I'm Jennifer, and this is a knitting podcast all about knitting, yarny adventures, and travel. Thank you very much for joining me today. So excited that you're here. Today I am featuring 8 all top down lace work sweaters, tees, or cardigans that I found. I am so excited, and I have to say, with the spring weather hitting here in Toronto finally, I've been outside, I've been enjoying the fresh air and the birds and running without 50 layers on, and I have become slightly obsessed about thinking about my spring cast-ons, what I'm knitting on, what I'm going to knit on, and lace work. I really have dug down into Ravelry and have found that I'm not the only one that is super getting into lace. There are quite a few new patterns. So what I've done is I've curated what would be my top choice for these lace work items and garments. I hope you enjoy them, along with, of course, a coupling of a little bit more season patterns. Again, we have really well-known designers to less well-known, so I hope you enjoyed today. Get comfy, get cozy, we'll get in. We'll start off with what I'm wearing. This is a sweater that I purchased at a fundraiser that was hosted by the Knitting Loft. All the proceeds went to the Humane Society of Toronto, which is such a beautiful idea. It was such a gorgeous event. I purchased a number of items from makers where they had made donations for this event. This sweater was one of my many purchases, but no information was provided, of course. I don't know the sweater name. I don't know the designer. If you are knowing who this gorgeous designer is, and I'll put a B-roll in so you can see a little more of the beautiful details, let us know in the comments. I know I wore another sweater from this exact same event that I purchased and have in my possession now, and you came through with letting me know not only the designer but the very specific sweater name, which was amazing. So perhaps you could do it again, because I would love to knit this sweater for myself as well in another yarn, another color. It's beautiful. I feel it's a superwash if I had to guess, and hand dyed with a little like flecky speckling. It's a stunner. It's perfect for spring, feeling very springy in it. So let us know. If you know how to do a yarn over and a knit two together, you are probably very set up to begin your lace knitting journey if you haven't already. I know the yarn overs were a little spooky to me in the beginning, and they're actually way simpler than I have ever thought as a beginner knitter a while ago. Literally a yarn over is just that. You've got your needle working on your right. You're literally wrapping your yarn around that right hand needle, and you're continuing to knit as you go, following, of course, the instructions of the pattern. And all it's doing is creating an intentional hole within your fabric that's there. Of course, because you've added a stitch with that yarn over, there's usually somewhere in the pattern before or after that yarn over a decrease as well of stitches, so that you're not interrupting the stitch counts, usually a knit two together, sometimes an SSK. We're gonna get in because we can do this if you haven't done this already, because lace work is gorgeous and I'm becoming obsessed with what I'm going to be casting on, which will be lace. My very first pattern roundup option is a Kathy cardigan. This is a stunner of a lace work motif that's prepared and designed by Rebecca Clow of the Kramer, podcaster, knitter, and blossomed, perhaps, past tense, knitwear designer. She has created this stunning cardigan that involves cables and lace. I'm never going to be reading the needle recommendation sizes because I feel like it's very arbitrary, as we all have very different gauge and techniques as we're knitting through, but I will, of course, go over a lot of the specifications that also include gauge for every pattern that I share today. And of course, all are top down. I'm also using top down patterns because this is my preferred method of construction, variety of reasons that includes top two, in my opinion, reasons. One is you can try on your garment as you go. The second is yarn management. If you're trying to be careful with the quantity of yarn, which we usually are, as you're knitting, this allows you to manage that yarn a little better with more control. And why wouldn't we want to have that control as we go into our knitting? So the Kathy cardigan is a DK weight base or a combined amount of yarns where you get a DK gauge. It's a very typical DK with 20 stitches and 32 rows for a 10 by 10 centimeter square or 4 by 4 inches. She has 12 different size options available and even include bust start shaping on this that allows it to be even more inclusive of a variety of circumferences of bust. In general, we're looking at, I'll just share the B cup options. This is without the bust shaping. It is in 82 to 171 centimeter bust circumference. In inches, you're looking at 32.25 to 67.25 inches. So really nice and inclusive. And again, with that bust shaping, it allows you to customize the fit if you have a larger bust as well. With this Kathy cardigan, she is saying that it's of course a fun and delicate pattern that does combine cable and lace motif. It's worked top down, of course, with set-in sleeves. Set-in sleeves are such a beautiful aesthetic that fit on the body really nicely. Of course, she's got, as I mentioned, the optional bust shaping as well. And she has her two options because she always likes to bring options to the table to us, which I'm always here for, with a long and a short sleeve. I do have to say, it was the short sleeve option that took my breath away when I saw this on Instagram. The long sleeve edition is very nice. It's flattering, of course. It's a beautiful fit, beautiful, simple motif. But that short sleeve, that steals the show for me. And I think it's also the color choice that her test knitter used in that like olive khaki green. Just a stunner in my opinion. And if this doesn't come onto my needles over the summer, I feel like it has to over the fall. Rebecca's done a really nice job of including specific skills that are required to make this garment on the Ravelry website, which is fantastic. So she's got cabling without a cable needle. If you haven't seen already, I've got a 3-part series as well on cabling and including tips and tricks that you can cable without a cable needle really simply. There's simple lace work with, like we said, the yarn overs and the knit twos together. She's got some short row shaping happening and picking up for sleeves, of course, for the sleeves, button band, and collar. It's such a beautiful cardigan, and it looks fairly simple to do as well. The next up on the lace knitting patterns today is another beauty. I feel these are all gorgeous. This is the Lacy Loop Tea, and this is designed by Other Loops. This is a pattern that came out in March. So again, we're looking at very recent patterns. So again, I'm feeling that trend of lace work really coming into its own here for the spring and summer. She is using a fingering weight yarn to get a 20 stitch gauge count or 32 rows. I think it's exactly the same actually as the cardigan we just shared about for 10 centimeters by 10 or 4 by 4 inch square. This she has done knitting for olive pure silk. She's also recommended the Laine de Nord luxury silk. I'm assuming it's single. I'm not sure. I'll see later on in the description if she specifies if it is. She's got a size extra small that goes up to an XXL. She describes the Lacy Loop Tea as a loose fit with a classic round neck and detailed stripes consisting of pearl stitches, a feminine eyelet pattern, and a unique ribbing edge. I do want to talk about the unique ribbing edge. I think it's an interesting feature. It's not particularly my cup of tea for what I like having on my body with the aesthetic. If I were to knit this, I think I would continue on with the beautiful motif that she has of the yarn overs, or, you know, the lace work eyelets that are done, and the pearl sections, the pearl rows, instead of the ribbing. I think it's nice for some people, not necessarily my aesthetic normally. This, of course, is worked top to bottom. She explains how it's constructed, which is you're casting on at the back. You're working back and forth, basically to do some short row shaping to bring up the back, and then you're picking up at the shoulders and joining in the round eventually to create the body. It's beautiful. And yeah, I'm just looking to see if there's anything else. I'm trying to see if she does include that yarn is, no, it's, oh, okay, here's what she's done. She's done the luxury silk from Laine du Nord in one strand, so it's held single, or the option is the pure silk from Knitting for Olive with 2 strands held together. That makes a lot more sense because that is a very thin, fine yarn option. That totally makes sense. Beautiful option here, and the measurements I didn't say is 109 centimeters to 138 centimeters, so a little less inclusive than the one we just saw. And yeah, she's got a variety of lengths as well that you can knit your garment in. It's beautiful. It looks super like comfortable and easy wearing for the weather that hopefully we'll be getting. It's a stunner. My next option for the lace pattern roundup today is the Vanilla Tea or Vanilla Tea by Sari Nordland. This came out just this month, again in April 2025, and it is a beautiful, I would feel if I had to, you know, pinpoint an aesthetic that Sari Nordland goes after is a traditional lace work yoke, and she just does such a gorgeous job every time. This isn't a fingering weight, so you're looking at 22 stitches and 32 rows for 10 by 10 centimeters or 4 by 4 inches, and she's used in her design Frida Frusch, oh goodness, Shiniki singles, or I believe this is separate. I don't think this would be used together in conjunction with this. The Camilla Fiber Company Flax Fingering. She has provided how many sizes? 9 sizes. So fairly inclusive. We're looking at 82 centimeters to 164 centimeter bust, or 32 and a quarter to 64 and a half inches. So fairly inclusive, which is nice. She describes the vanilla as a tea that's knitted seamlessly top down, which is of course our favorite, beginning at the neckband. The beautiful lace pattern is worked in the yoke first, of course. The sleeves and body are separated at the underarm and knitted separately. The back is shaped with short row shaping to give it a bit more length and improve the fit. Beautiful, simple construction. I think it's lovely, it's great. I'm just reading here again. I'm sure she's held everything single, and it does look like it just from scanning. So yeah, really lovely. I do want to call out not only that beautiful neckline where it's got very minimal, like that cast on edge and then goes right away. It looks almost after just a smidge of cast on. I can't tell if it's, oh, it almost looks like an I-cord, doesn't it? It almost looks like an I-cord. And then the sleeves, the short sleeves, look like they're knit slightly longer and then tucked in or folded and knit down to create that beautiful folded edge. Really lovely, really nice. And again, I feel very speaks to Sari Nordland's aesthetic. Beautiful. My next up is an older pattern compared to these brand new ones that came out. This is from June 2022, and this is a gorgeous pattern that I've had kind of, you know, wheeling around in my queue, my brain as well. The Rib Lace Regal. This is designed by James N. Watts. It's a very beautiful, I think, overall aesthetic. I do want to talk about why I have been reluctant to cast this on. This is a fingering weight yarn that he's used. It was the Pearl Soho Centolina, and you're looking at 17 stitches and 30 rows for 10 by 10 square or 4 by 4 inches. So if you've heard that, that's a fingering weight. He's using slightly larger needles and getting a bigger gauge. I think it's because of the almost the columns that are knit, where you're getting stockinette stitch knit columns, and then you're getting on the sides the lace motif, the eyelets going down, that really, I think, open up that fabric and allow it to be more drapey. I'm just looking at sizes here. So he's got an extra small available up to a 5X, he's calling it, for his size range. He describes the, oh no, sorry, I should share the circumference. So he's got 30 inches to 62 inches for the chest size, and 76 inches to 157.5 centimeters. Yes, perfect. He describes the rib lace raglan as a minimal and beautiful raglan sweater, which it is. Columns of knit stitches are broken up by columns of simple lace. The lace pattern is only 2 stitches with a yarn over and a knit 2 together. That's the theme of lace, so nothing new here, which is great, and has a 2-row repeat. So it's quickly memorizable and easy to knit. Super my jam. Love this idea. The rib lace raglan uses an all-over lace texture, and while still being very full coverage. I do want to talk about that in a second, in my opinion. It's designed to be knitted with short sleeves, but the pattern, of course, includes a long sleeve option. What I'm going to say, my little tidbit on this, and why I've been a little hesitant, in the pattern projects that I've looked at on Ravelry and as well on Instagram, while it's a beautiful knit, those yarn overs are just big enough where you do see the undergarment, if any, that's being worn underneath. And in the summer, I really like wearing light colors up top, whites, just off whites. And so for me, having a bra shown at this point isn't necessarily what I'm after. I really want something that's a little more coverage, if you will, of an undergarment, should I choose to wear one. And this is it. I think if I was going to do this, I think I would choose a dark yarn, and then I could pair it with a dark bra underneath. That's where my brain has been with this option. So that's the rib lace raglan by James & Watts. Beautiful pattern. My next up in the lace motif options is the Shorty by Ventzel. This came out 2 years ago in April, so 2023. It has been in my queue for quite some time. This is a DK weight sweater, or I should say tee, where she has used Isayer Yarn Alpaca 1 and Isayer Yarn Trio 2. Both are used in the pattern, so I'm going to see if they're held together or they're 2 separate samples, which may be the case. She is recommending for gauge the 21 stitch gauge count, 32 rows for 10 by 10 centimeters square, 4 by 4 inches, and she's offering 5 sizes. One could say not as inclusive in the size range, especially with what we've seen. The Shorty, she's describing as a feminine top with a simple and graceful lace pattern. Absolutely it is. The designers work from top down. First, the neck edge is worked and the top part of the yoke is worked in rounds. The yoke is then divided into front and back, and each section is worked back and forth to the bottom of the armholes. The back section is worked together, and then the front section to push the shoulder line forward, which creates a comfortable fit and probably very flattering as well with the aesthetic. The body is then worked top down to the edge, and the sleeves are picked up at the armholes with short row shaping at the cap. And again, I think because of where the line is, if you didn't do the short row shaping on the sleeve, your sleeve would poke up and it wouldn't have that beautiful flow down the arm and your shoulder. So I've seen this before in a lot of other constructions like this of sweater designs. The size range, again, we're looking at 5 size options from a 94 centimeter bust to 129 or 57. Oh goodness, sorry, no, she's only offering centimeters. My mistake. And a variety of options with length of torso. This one looks nice and fitted and actually is really calling to me aesthetically. I really enjoy this option because it looks like such a beautiful fit. It's a fitted option. And for me, this is kind of where I'm going right now with the, the aesthetic that I'm wanting. And it's a more covering lacework design. In other words, if I'm wearing an undergarment underneath, yes, you can still see it, but I feel it's less obvious and less showing than some of the other options, like we just saw with the rib lace raglan as well from James & Watts. Beautiful option, I think. And actually, this may jump on my needles a little sooner than the clover tea. My next option, and I have 3 more left, is a very beautiful design. I feel like this would be for more experienced knitters, but you could argue and let me know. This is the Silven by Natasja Hornby. A beautiful sweater, again a tee that is done in a sport weight. So you're looking at 21 centimeters, 21 stitches and 30 rows to get your 10 by 10 square or 4 by 4 inches. She's offering 8 sizes. This was knit, the sample in Pasquale Sol. So again, held single. And I'm just looking at sizes. Yes, size range. So you're looking at 1 to 8 sizes. So the bust circumference totals are 86.5 to 160 centimeters or 34 3/4 to 64 inches. Really lovely construction by the looks of things. The Silven strikes a perfect balance between effortless and timeless charm. The delicate lace border adds a graceful touch, while the short sleeve and well-shaped fit make for a very versatile choice of any wardrobe. I totally agree. Designed to flatter all sizes, the Silven is a go-to piece for warmer days, light breathable and endlessly wearable. Beautifully written, whether paired with flowing skirts or your favorite jeans, this tee is sure to become a cherished staple in your hand collection. I really enjoy that Moonstruck Knits here has included kind of the styling option. And I feel for me, when I'm doing my designs as well, I always enjoy putting that little like styling choice option in my pattern designs, because I feel like it's nice to visualize how this garment that you spend so much time pairing yarn with and knitting and making and modifying potentially, and how do you envision it into your wardrobe. I love that she's including, you can include it in a variety of ways. And I really like taking pieces that I own already or have made and wearing them in different ways. It's a beautiful design. This all finished work top down. First, the back yoke is worked back and forth until the underarm, while shaping the shoulders using short rows. So again, we're looking at that similar construction, it seems, to the Ventzel design that we just saw. Again, making almost a sleeve cap that allows your sleeve to sit perfectly on your shoulder. There are optional bust darts, which is interesting. She didn't call that out in the very beginning, but that could be great. That allows you to decide if you would like to have that option and would flatter your body even more. Yeah, it's a lovely, lovely option. I'm not going to go into any more detail, I think, about how to knit it, because I think it's quite similar to what we just saw, but very nice. And versatile and quite detailed in the lace work, so that I would say that motif wouldn't be perhaps as memorizable as the ones we've seen so far, which is why I feel like it's more experienced knitter, or maybe you just want to be a little more minds on. Next up, I have the Yume by Isabel Kramer. Really beautiful top-down construction of a tee. This is knit using Ito Gima or Gima, I think Gima, 8.5, and the Ito Shio, both using the pattern held together to create a sport weight. We're looking at 22 stitches in 36 rows for 10 by 10 centimeters square or 4 by 4 inches. She's prepared her pattern from an extra small to an XXL. I'm just seeing if she's included, yes, the bust circumference sizes from a 35.75 inch bust to 52, and in centimeters we're looking at 89 to 130 centimeter bust. She's included a positive ease as well of 3.25 inches or 8.5 centimeters, which is great because the other ones I don't even think called out any ease, which I don't think any of those tees actually had extra ease. It looked like they were kind of like neutral with ease. If I had to guess, I'm sure there's more details if you purchase the pattern. The Yume is worked seamlessly top down, huzzah. First, some short row shaping is worked in the back and forth to create a higher back, and then worked in the round, creating the yoke top down with sleeve separation. Some last short rows are worked to finish the yoke shaping right before the sleeve stitches are placed on hold, and then the body is worked in rounds down to the hem. Sleeves are worked top down to the cuffs last. Beautiful design. There are some options in the test knitter photos where people have done long sleeve options as well. The Yume looks like a really simple, lovely design. We're looking at a lace work yoke at the top only. And yeah, it looks quite doable. My last lace work option is a newer to me designer. This pattern came out in October of last year. This is Irene Lin, and she has designed the Nia sweater. Again, this is a heavier sweater compared to everything else I've shared because we're looking at lace weight, a lot of plant-based fibers and tees. This one is more for if you would like something heavier on your needles and a little more traditional knitting. And I'm always here for that. This is knit using a worsted weight yarn. The sample is knit up using Durera Natura Gilead, and a very accessible, very affordable yarn, beautiful feel. And we're looking at 26 gauge count, 27 rows, 10 by 10 centimeters or 4 inches, and is available in 4 sizes only. So not the most inclusive one we have seen today. The positive ease she's recommending is quite generous. So if that helps you to see if this could be a pattern for you, she's got a 39 centimeter positive ease recommendation, which is a 15.5 inch positive ease reco. That's significant. So if you are, you want to go for the exact fit she has, obviously, you would have to fit into the specific size range if you weren't willing to modify the pattern. However, if you are considering less ease than the reco, this is a very doable pattern if you surpass the bust circumference that she has designed this for, which is a 122 to 175 centimeter bust. I'm assuming that's with ease. And then a 48 inch bust to 69 inches. Again, I think that's with ease. She has said about this pattern, the Nia sweater is knitted by starting at the back from the top down, great, to the base of the armholes. Then both fronts are picked up and knitted separately, working from top down to the edge of the neckline. That could be an interesting construction by the way she's written it in this description. It would be interesting to see what the pattern would be. I haven't purchased it. After joining both pieces, the front is worked to the base of the armhole, and then the front and back are joined in and knit in the round to the hem. It's a really beautiful, flattering design with lace work that's happening primarily on the torso, in the front and the back, and again along the sleeves. It looks like it could be quite memorizable because it happens quite a bit as you're going down the pattern. I feel like that shoulder line that's created using the techniques that she's talking about in her construction really frames the torso and the shoulders in such a beautiful way. Very flattering. So that is the Nia sweater. All right, that is it for me here with the lace work options and patterns. I hope if you haven't done lace already, that you are willing to give it a go. And again, if you know how to do the yarn overs and the knit twos together and follow, you know, and willing to take the time to follow the different construction options, lace work could totally be for you. And I think we're going to be seeing that trend as we press into further spring and definitely into summer. Thank you very much for joining me today. If you like this episode, I invite you to like and subscribe to the channel. And if you're feeling extra keen, I've got 2 other options that you can do to support me. One is a Ko-Fi account where you can make a donation, and as well my knitting patterns. We have just released last week the Kingsburg keyhole pullover. No lace in that, all stock net, but a really beautiful design in my opinion. And it's available for purchase on Ravelry, along with other design options that I have there. I hope you find great joy in your knitting, if it's lace or otherwise. Until next time, take care.